Carl Jung said, "Awaken and shine your light for others to follow. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This is an invitation to move differently in the world, to operate from a place of deep knowing and alignment. I'm Adrienne McDonald, and welcome to the Source Code Podcast. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. Grab your coffee or your favorite tea, or any favorite beverage, and let us see what the Muse has for us today. I want to talk a little bit about the coaching industry. Over the past couple of months, I've noticed an uptick, especially on threads, of people just bashing the coaching industry. And I mean with a level of vitriol I've just never seen before. And this has ranged from people saying, we're not getting the results, or it's all a pyramid scheme, or people calling people charlatans, and probably the most disturbing is a lot of coach-on-coach hate. Now, I have been in the personal development industry for over a decade at this point, and working with people development for many decades. I'd say that there's definitely a shift in the marketplace. People are getting more discerning. I think that's great. There's been a lot of talk around the middle market disappearing, which doesn't really surprise me with all that's going on right now. But there is a generally accepted saying out in the marketplace that I think is complete BS. And I think it's at least part of the undercurrent of the angst out there. And that is, you don't want it bad enough. I believe you don't want it bad enough is complete and utter bullshit. I think that it's particularly so for women. And I'm not saying this without giving it some thought, because my mentor used to say this quite a bit. So trust me when I say I've thought about this a lot. This doesn't mean that you don't need clarity, that you don't need to work through issues and all the things. But too often I see this being used as you aren't getting X results because you didn't want it bad enough, or you don't want it bad enough. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on personal development. I've been in masterminds and programs with others that have done the same and more. And I've watched some people skyrocket, and I've watched some people drift away, and I've watched some people hop from program to program to coach without a lot changing. And I've always been very curious about that for myself when I've not gotten those results I wanted, when I've made an investment, but also with others. It's like, well, why is the system working for this person and not for this person? Or why isn't this particular thing working for me, or why is it not working for me? I don't have a lot of big regrets of anything that I've ever invested. I think that there could have been different choices for sure. I've shared some of those on the podcast before. But I think that I look at it more from a standpoint of, okay, why did I make the decision I did? And where was the flaw in that, if there was a flaw, right? So I think a better way of looking at this is, you may not know yourself very well, and therefore you may be buying things that aren't suited for you, that are never going to work for you and how you are wired. You're making decisions based on the hyped up energy in the room, not out of clarity, or you're making decisions out of desperation. But it's all from external pressure, not internal knowing. And I get that because I've done it. And one of the reasons why I really like using the systems, Human Design and Gene Keys, the modalities, is there is no guru. Yeah, there's experts and teachers and guides, if you will, that can facilitate your learning process. I mean, that's part of what I do. However, the systems are about you understanding yourself to a level that your agency can never be taken away by anyone, so that you can develop a level of self-trust that is so solid that you can go out there and have the impact you want to have and keep going when the challenge arises, because they will. Challenges always come up. To be able to look at the challenge and go, okay, I can do this, I can move through this, Or, I need some help here. And be able to look around and go, okay, I need this particular type of help, and make the decision in clarity and from that place of deep knowing. To be able to look at that book or program or opportunity of any kind and know, yeah, that's for me, or you know what, this is not going to work for me. This particular system isn't going to work for me. It might work for somebody else. Because that's the truth. There are a lot of ways to get to a goal, and not all ways will work for all people. It's not that you don't want it bad enough. It's that you got to find what works for you. And that's the thing that really is like the undercurrent message of this episode is there's nothing wrong with you. There's so many people that think that there's something wrong with them out there. It's like, well, I didn't want it bad enough. Bullshit. You got to find what works for you. It might not have worked for you. Okay? It might work great for somebody else. I know a lot of different things that work for other people that just don't work with my design type. And people have asked me why the source code the Human Design Source Code report that I give away is more detailed than just the chart. Because in most cases elsewhere, that's a paid option. And look, I'm working on an even more detailed report that will be a paid option. But after so many people thinking that there is something wrong with them because of some bullshit industry standard saying, like, you don't want it bad enough, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I put it out there. It's like I wanted to put something out there with enough information that was useful immediately. Now, the Human Design Gene Keys are very complex. Their report is enough to be life-changing for sure. I mean, knowing how you best use your energy, how you best make decisions, how opportunities come to you, where you are the most influenced, where you influence others. I mean, that's a lot. But that's really only the tip of the iceberg as far as the depth of understanding you can go, because there's a lot of nuances. And it takes a little bit of time, right? It's like, okay, I need to play with this. It is called the Human Design Experiment. I learn something new every day in my studies. And there's a deconditioning process that goes with learning what your design is versus your programming that you've been operating with, like your belief systems that you've been operating with. And generally speaking, what I've seen when I was looking at those people in all those mastermind groups and whatnot, when I reflect back, it's like, yeah, they probably weren't operating optimally, and they probably had energy blocks. I mean, you guys know I'm an energy practitioner. Very rarely does someone come to me without some sort of energy block as well. But I want people to be able to make decisions about their life, about their business, about their career, from a place of, in relationships, from a place of clarity and deep knowing, not because of pressure, not because of external influence. I believe the world would be a better place that way. You have an inherent resilience within you when you operate this way. There's a lot more happiness and joy when you operate this way, let me tell you. And before you press that green button to purchase that next course or program or say yes on that discovery call that we all know are sales calls, where are you making that decision from? Are you coming from a place of knowing? Or are you coming from a place of external pressure? If it's pressure, take a beat. If it's desperation, take a beat. If something feels off with the energy, take a beat. Also, if someone says, we got to make this decision today, no, you don't. Here's your permission slip. No, you don't. No, you don't. But when you're aligned with your design, when you're operating from that place, you don't need a permission slip because you already know. As I said, you can download your own Human Design personalized source code report for free off my website. I'll put a link in the show notes. Now, it might be very helpful to you after you download that, after you look at it, after you contemplate it for a beat or two, to go back and look at some of the things that you have purchased through that lens of your type, your authority, your strategy, and go, is there something that I missed here? Can I look at this differently? You might get something out of an old program through looking at it through this different lens, So maybe make that part of your experiment. So as I said, it's going to give you a lot of insight. Would love to hear what you find, what you think about this episode. Feel free to drop some comments in on social media. DM me. We can go deeper, like I said, with an illumination session if you choose to do that. If you found this helpful, please share it out. Get the word out. Would love to have more people taking more control of their lives and appreciating themselves at a deeper level. As always, thanks for listening. Remember to find beauty every day and seek out the magic in the mundane. Oh, and next week, I will be going a little deeper into shadow work and a different way of looking at it. So stay tuned for that as well. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening to the Source Code Podcast. If you found this episode insightful and feel moved to, please leave a review and share it out with those you believe will find it helpful. You can check out my website for more information at www.adriannemcdonald.com. And for more of my more regular musings, connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. I hope you have a beautiful week.